Today, we have a story time of a girl who actually thinks that she lives in an anime. This is one of the craziest stories I've ever received, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and let's jump into it. So we're going to call the girl who submitted this story Maddie. Anyways, so in Maddie's school, there was a very popular school dance, and it would happen in the wintertime, and it was called the Valentine's Day Dance. This was one of the most anticipated events for all the 7th graders, right? I know back in the day when I had my Valentine's Day dance, that thing was crazy. I'd think about it for months, bro. Good times, man. But anyways, it was kind of a pretty important thing who you went with to this dance at Maddie's school. Yeah, that's a lot of unnecessary pressure on kids who probably shouldn't have that kind of pressure, because in 7th grade you have a ton of other pressure socially, academically, and all that stuff, especially as you're, expected more and more from you. But either way, it just how it was. So there's another girl who we're going to call the anime girl. So the anime girl was obsessed with anime. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a genre of, entertainment, and that really doesn't matter to me what you like in that regard. However, this girl's entire personality was like anime. Every single article of clothing was somewhat anime related. She altered the way that she spoke to make her sound more as if she was speaking like an anime. And this all ties together because one day, about a week before the Valentine's Day dance, there was a big group of girls that were together, and they were talking about, did anyone ask you? Traditionally, the guy would ask the girl, and some girls would end up asking guys, but majority, 95%, at least at Maddie's school, would be guys asking girls. So everyone kind of went around talking about it, being like, oh, do you have a date to the Valentine's Day dance? Or like, oh, that's so exciting. All this kind of stuff, right? And eventually it came around to the anime girl. And the anime girl, and here's the thing, no one was going around being like, do you have a date? Do you have a date? You don't look like you have a date. Tell me if you have a date or not. People were kind of volunteering this information. So don't feel as if the anime girl was strictly or specifically pressured to say what she's about to say, which is pretty crazy. But anyways, she says, oh yeah, I have a date to the Valentine's Day dance as well. And all the people were like, the girls around there were like, oh my God, who are you going with? Whatever. They didn't know this girl that well, but they were still pretty curious. So yeah, the girls were interested who she was going with, as everyone else was saying, who they were going with. And maybe the girls who didn't have someone to go with were, kind of in the back of their minds, ticking off guys that they could not pressure their friends into making them ask them, right? So they're, and just genuinely curious. So the anime girl says, oh, he doesn't go to my school. And by the way, he is also my boyfriend. So everyone's like, oh my God, you have a boyfriend. This is 7th grade. And I don't know about in your 7th grade, maybe you guys were all in long-term relationships planning to get married. But at least in 7th grade in my year, most people weren't in relationships. There were a few for sure, but the majority of them were just, they would maybe have crushes or something like that. But most people didn't have official boyfriends or girlfriends. And if they were, it would have been their first one ever. I actually had my first girlfriend in 7th grade, so I can't really say that much. But it was, when I say girlfriend, I say that very lightly. I think we held hands once, which was a huge deal for 7th graders. But anyways, everyone was excited. They're like, oh, well, can we see a photo of him? And this is where Maddie starts to realize things are going the wrong direction, or things are about to become a little bit strange. Because the anime girl is like, yes, of course, he is so beautiful. And she goes into her phone and she takes out a photo. And it is it's a screenshot of a guy from an anime show. I don't know what anime show, I don't know what screenshot necessarily, but to say the least, right, it's a little strange. Everyone is looking at the phone, they're looking at the screenshot and the photo of this girl, or of this guy, quote unquote, right? And they all kind of have a look on their face like, oh, so he's not real. And one of the girls is like, I think that's a cartoon. And she's like, he's real. He just looks weird in this lighting, which obviously it was a guy from an anime show. It was not some guy. No one was looking weird in the lighting, bro. It's literally a screen cap from you watching anime on Netflix, bro. It obviously is not your boyfriend. So everyone else kind of tries to let the subject go because no one really wants to press her, because it is quite obvious to them, at least, that, okay, well, the anime girl probably just wants to fit in, and she's like, oh, let me make everyone think I have a boyfriend who goes to another school. If someone says, oh, I'm talking to someone, they just go to another school, then, look, there's a decent chance that they might not be lying. But also remember, probably one of the easiest lies and most common lies in the book, especially in the younger grades, is, no, I have a girlfriend, they just go to another school, man. So most of the girls let it go, but the anime girls are like, no, guys, this is my boyfriend, here's another photo. And she swipes over to another screenshot of the same guy, but from a different, scene in the same anime show. And the girls are trying not to be mean about it. I mean, very obvious, or very clearly, or not clearly, but very, easily, they could have all been like, dude, that's obviously a screenshot from an anime, shut up, like, you don't have a boyfriend, and all this kind of stuff, right? But they were trying to be as nice as possible, and just trying to change the subject. There's at least a difference between playing along with it and changing the subject, because, I can understand, right? I can understand not wanting to play along, because at some point you're like, we're in 7th grade, we're not 7, but at the same time, they were doing what they could do. And the girl was starting to get a little bit angry, the anime girl. And the anime girl's like, guys, I can't believe you don't believe me right now. I'm telling the truth. And they all kind of look at her and they kind of give her this long look of, really? Because they know she's not telling the truth right now. But she's like, you know what? Well, I'm bringing him to our dance and you'll see. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And I guess at this point, Maddie, the subscriber, was kind of thinking, okay, maybe this is an anime filter. You know how on Snapchat, how there's this really popular and trending anime filter where people can take a photo of themselves and it turns into an anime or whatever. I've used it a few times. It's actually quite funny. I don't know if you guys have seen the Nico Kato Avocado one where it makes him into a Giga Chad with a 6-pack or whatever. But yeah, sure enough, she's like, okay. Everyone's like, okay, cool, whatever. And they try and change the subject matter. And the anime girl's like, you'll see the truth. You'll see the truth when my boyfriend takes me. And they're all like, okay, cool, whatever. They're really not trying to be annoying about it, but she did just show them photos of anime as proof that she has a boyfriend, which is a little bit strange. Anyways, let's skip ahead to the actual day of the school dance. So a week has passed by. There's just all this commotion in the air. Everyone is really excited. There's this kind of nervous type energy where it is not nervous before a test, but nervous before something really, really exciting. I guess it's more exciting nervous energy because most people have been asked out, but there are still there's a final few asks, and especially if you haven't been asked out at this point and you really want to, you're going to be really nervous because this is kind of the last day, unless you're going to get a text message 5 minutes before the dance. Hey, bro, do you want to go to the dance with me? But that would kind of not be the best thing, right? Mom is definitely going to question that. But anyways, everyone's excited, and the way the dance works is everybody goes home. Yeah, so anyways, everyone goes home first. They get all changed and dressed up. And unlike most days where you go home from school and you don't go back until the next day, today you go back home from school, you get something to eat, you get dressed, you get changed. A lot of people will go to each other's friends' houses, and then you'll come back at 7 at night to the school. And you'll go to the gym, the gymnasium room or the gymnasium or auditorium type place. It'll be completely transformed into a fun dance place with the teachers as chaperones, and everyone is really excited. So let's jump ahead to 7. Maddie gets there, the subscriber who submitted this story, and he's, walking in, and she's with a bunch of girls. And one of the girls actually does, because they don't really think about the anime girl, they don't spend all day thinking about, oh my god, this girl that we don't really talk to, is she lying or not? However, they were still interested. So a girl that Maddie was with kind of brought up very casually, hey, it's going to be interesting to see, the anime girl and who she brings. Because remember, the anime girl had only shown quote-unquote proof of her boyfriend being 2 screenshots from anime episodes she probably was watching on Netflix. So everyone was in agreement that it was going to be at least pretty interesting to see what would happen here. So sure enough, they walk into the auditorium. And, it's really cool. There's lights, there's music going on. The teachers really did go all out. And they really put in a lot of effort to make sure everyone there was going to have a good time. So they were all, the dance was very young. The night was young. Things were just starting. And I don't know if you guys have this true as well, if you have middle school or high school dances. In the very beginning, at least, and maybe throughout the entire thing if you're unlucky, it's a group of guys on one corner, none of them dancing, a group of girls on another corner, maybe a small circle of them dancing, and about 20 feet in space in between them, with no gender mixing at all. So, yeah, it was kind of like this in the very beginning, but people were still trickling in, and if you'd see a friend, you'd go run up to them or whatever, and that's when the anime girl walks in. So immediately, all the girls, because none of the guys really knew about this, but all the girls, at least the ones who were with the anime girl when she was telling them about, like, oh, I have a boyfriend, right? They were all very interested. They wanted to see what was to come of this, right? Who she was bringing, if she was bringing someone. Did she actually find a way to physically pull someone out of the realm of animation and bring them into the real world? Who knows at this point? So the anime girl walks in, and guess who is on her arm? But before you guess, or before you hear, go ahead and comment anime down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. And while you're in the comment section commenting anime, make sure to check the pinned comment on today's video. There's a link to a Spotify page which has all my stories on my official Spotify as uploaded as podcasts. If you listen on there, you also support me. And also in the pinned comment, there are 2 YouTube channels that I've been uploading to every single day. Make sure to check that you are subscribed to both of those as they're new, and all your viewership really helps out in the beginning, and I really appreciate it. So anyways, the anime girl has walked into the building. So she gets everyone's attention, at least all the girls that she was telling about her quote-unquote boyfriend to before. And she walks into the building, and sure enough, she has someone or something on her arm. What she comes into the building with is absolutely shocking. It's absolutely crazy. Because she walks into the building with an anime body pillow. Yeah, basically, if you don't know what that is, it is a pillow the length of, at least a smaller human being. I don't know if it's like a 5'7" or whatever the average height is around the world. It's at least the length of probably a human being on the shorter end, right? And on it is printed an anime character. So basically, it's a pillow with an anime character on it, right? So she walks in, and all the girls are like, oh God, oh good heavens, right? They're just like, oh wow, they were basically just speechless at that point. So Maddie was like, oh God. Because the thing is, right, it's going to be bad enough that she showed up after bragging to everyone that she had a real life boyfriend, that she showed up with an anime body pillow. But Maddie noticed that this anime girl was heading straight towards them, which basically meant that she was preparing to show off her anime boyfriend to everyone. And Maddie was like, look, the girls here, they're not the nicest, and I'm actually quite surprised that they were as nice as they were to the anime girl before when she showed off her quote-unquote boyfriend photos, right, which were actually just screenshots from Netflix. So sure enough, the anime girl walks up to the group of girls with the anime body pillow on her arm, and she's like, so girls, I would like you to meet Jeremy. And like the body pillow slumps over for a second. She's like, oh, Jeremy, you're so funny. And all the girls look at each other like, okay, this is not exactly what we're expecting. Like, they all kind of looked at each other because they're like, okay, are we going to say something? Are we going to like ignore her completely? Or are we going to play along awkwardly? Like, there's a lot of options here. There's not a lot of good options, but there's a lot of options here, right? So yeah, sure enough, one of them was like, haha, okay. The others were like, and, the anime girl's like, well, I'm going to go off with Jeremy. He's just so excited to dance. And remember, at this point, the guys and the girls were still, in their 2 separate circles. So the guys were in a circle, and over in the left side of the hall, or not the hall, sorry, the auditorium, and the girls were kind of on the right side of the auditorium, and the dance floor was completely empty. So the anime girl walks into the center of the dance floor and starts dancing around with her anime body pillow. And Maddie was just looking at this and was like, oh my God, like, is anyone gonna let her know that maybe not to do this? Is anyone gonna stop her for her own good at this point? And that's when, here's the thing, the guys know nothing about her boyfriend, right? And also, guys tend to not really have, the greatest social awareness in general. But especially in 7th grade, you're not going to get the context clues. You're not going to get anything like that. Or at least I know me and my friends definitely did not. So one of the guys yells over at her, what are you doing dancing with the pillow? Lol. And like the girl's like, this is not a pillow. This is my boyfriend. And the guy's like, I'm pretty sure that's a pillow. And she's like, this is not a pillow. And the guy's like, no, I see it pretty clearly right now. That's a pillow for sure. And she's like, it's not a pillow. So the guy comes over, literally picks up like the anime body pillow, shakes it around a little bit, and the anime girl starts screaming, "Put my boyfriend down! He did nothing to you!" And the guy's like, "Oh, no, this is definitely a pillow." He's like, "Catch!" And he throws it over to one of the other guys. Look, you shouldn't be taking other people's stuff like that and messing with it. And also, this girl obviously had some like insecurities or something, and she was trying to compensate or whatever. So you definitely shouldn't be like too mean to her or anything. But yeah, they threw the body pillow and like the guys were messing around with it. And the girl's like, "You'll regret this," and rushes off, right? And the guy's like, "Okay." So Maddie and the other girls saw this go down, and they did feel kind of bad for the anime girl. However, right, they were a little bit like, okay, well, where is the anime girl, bro? Where did she go? Because here's the thing. When someone screams, "You'll regret this," and then ominously storms off, normally they're up to no good. And sure enough, not Maddie, the anime kid girl was up to no good. So, okay, a little bit of context. At this dance, they served punch. And there were tables where they had a big kind of like punch bowl or whatever, and there was a lot of small cups with punch in it. So the anime girl ran over to the punch bowl. She must have seen this earlier and just remembered it on the spot, because she had a devious plan to get back at the guy who took her quote-unquote boyfriend and threw him around the room. That would be a lot stranger if it was an actual guy and not just an anime 5-foot-long body pillow. A little bit of a different story at that point. But anyway, she goes over to the punch bowl, and Maddie watches this. But Maddie doesn't put two and two together until before it's way too late. So Maddie watches as the anime girl fills up 2 cups really full with the punch. And she's like, "Oh, I wonder why the anime girl's doing that. Maybe she's going over there to take a mental break or whatever, and she's just enjoying some punch." Well, Maddie realized this was not the case when the anime girl, instead of drinking the punch, started walking back over to the dance floor with 2 cups of really full punch. And Maddie was thinking, "Oh, okay, well, maybe she's going to her friend to give her, like, punch." But then she's like, wait, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because she didn't talk to anyone before that happened. So, yeah. What actually happened was she walked over, took both of the things of punch, went up to the guy who, like, took her anime body pillow, and just dunked him in punch. Bro was wearing a white t-shirt too, so you could see all the punch spill all over him. So this was a chaperone dance, meaning that there were a bunch of teachers and staff on check every single minute they were watching. And the teacher saw this, went up to the anime girl and quickly took her out and told her that she had to go home and call her parents. All of this over a super real boyfriend.